Hi everyone, this is Lien and welcome back to the Time for Tea Designs YouTube channel. Today I'm creating these Happy Meal cards with you where I am featuring that small stamp from your stamp set. Today, those tea bags, I just love this one, it's so cute. So I had this idea of really featuring it by using this as the overall image or images on my card. Now my first idea was a quite simple idea. Well, the ideas are similar, but the execution is different. So the first one is all about heat embossing, and I'm heat embossing today on some paper bag cardstock. Here I'm just going to randomly stamp this tea bag as much as possible all over this paper, and then I will use my white embossing powder and heat set everything. This way I will have lots of images all the same, and I will be using them all on my card. Now, this is a really simple concept. You can do it with so many different tiny images and even combine all those tiny images. Imagine making this card using the tea bags, but also that sugar or a few cookies. Everything is possible. So here I have stamped everything out as much as possible, and then I'm just adding that embossing powder all over, making sure that everything has embossing powder on there, tapping off the excess, and then I will heat set it. Now once that's done, it's time to die cut everything. So I have the matching dies. I'm just slowly working my way through this paper filled with tea bags, and then I will be able to assemble my card. Now, as I said, you can do this with several tiny images. You can still feature the big image and then fill the rest of your card with the tiny ones. But also, imagine doing this exact thing, but on several rainbow colors. I think that should be gorgeous as well, and I really should try to do that in the upcoming future, because while I was editing this video, there were so many variations that came popping in my head, and I just really enjoyed it. So I decided to use a white panel to later on add everything on top of it. Now, first I was contemplating doing brown on brown, then I decided doing white. But the sentiment, you can stamp the sentiment on your white panel or on your other colored panel, or you can do the same as I do here and just heat emboss it once again on the same color paper as your tea bags. And actually the lovely thing about Time for Tea Designs stamps is that the matching dies almost always have also the dies for the sentiment, and I think that's so much fun because this way you can easily cut it out. You don't need to fussy things out. You don't need to try to find the perfect sentiment strip or die to cut it out. So for me this is really super handy. So I'm using the die and then I have all my elements. But as you know, and as I just told you, there are so many variations that you can make. Just have fun and try some things out, and I am sure that you will like it. So I trimmed down my white panel to an A2 size, and I'm just going to add this sentiment flat. You can lift it up, but I'm going to add foam squares on all the backings of the tea bags. So just for that, I'm varying by adding the sentiment straight on there, making sure with my T-square ruler that it's straight as well as sort of centered on the top of my card. And then it's time to add some thin foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives to the back of my tea bags. Now I really quickly did that, and actually I didn't know at the beginning whether I had enough tea bags heat set and die cut, but it worked out fine in the end. There were just enough, and if you hang some tea bags over the edge, then you can really use the other side that you trim off using you can use that part just on the edge as well. So I'm just going to lay everything out, and once I'm happy with placement, I'm going to remove all those backings and then add it secures on this panel. Now, as you can see, I'm trying to vary in positioning so that there are different sides that you can see. And once that's done, well, I have my first panel sort of ready. I will still embellish it at the end of this video, but you know what I mean. So I'm adding everything. Well, I forgot about the placement of this one, so then I decided to just move along with all the other ones that still were in place and figure it out later on. Now once all of them are adhered, I'm going to trim off all the excess just by taking this panel to my paper trimmer and just cutting all the excess off. So here I'm not worried that there are things overlapping. Actually, that helps in my opinion to really have the idea that the card continues way further than we can see, that it's actually only a part of the whole scene with all the tea bags filling it up. As you can see here, there was quite an empty space, and I just used the trimmed off item from another edge of this card panel and just added it over there to fill it up. And here again. So again, trimming off all the excess, lining it up with the edge of my trimmer, just using my finger and press it right against the edge. Trimming it off, and then the final edge. Now if some elements seem a bit weird, then you can still trim it off with your scissors. I will do it there. On the top there was just a tiny piece. Strange. So that is the panel, and now I'm going to show you another way of making this card. This one is not with any die cutting. I stamped out the sentiments sort of on the exact same place as on the other panel, and then I'm going to stamp the tea bag multiple times all around. So the random positioning that I did previously, I'm now going to do while stamping it out. And actually I have a small tip for you for that. So first of all, when you stamp it out the first time, while your stamp is filthy, there is ink on, and if you need to clean it off each time and then make sure that it's dry before replacing it on your panel, that takes so much time. So I have in my MISTI a piece of acetate the size of my MISTI. I just trimmed it down to that. And actually you can use that plastic to add on top of your panel. You reposition the filthy stamp, so you don't need to clean, you don't need to dry it. And you reposition it, and it will actually not be messy on your card panel, it will just be messy on the acetate. And I just repeated this step each time again and again, and you will see that my acetate is getting filthy. That's not an issue. Afterwards, when I'm cleaning my stamp, I can also clean the acetate, and this is a really quick way to reposition your stamps randomly on your panel. But also if you are doing some masking or you need your image to be on the perfect place, then this acetate can really help. Just don't forget to put the acetate on there before you're going to start with replacing the stamp. Now I didn't tell this, I think, but the paper that I'm using for this panel is Strathmore Bristol Smooth, because I'm using my zigs. Now it has been a while since I used zigs, I must be honest, so it was, well, a bit getting used to again. But I took some rainbow colors and I'm just going to color in these images. Now I'm adding the ink of the zig color on most of the time the left side of the tea bag, and then I'm using the colorless blender to really drag that color from the edge towards the rest of the image and filling it up. Now I did that for all the colors, and then I decided to add a second layer, so I will show you one of each and then continue with the second layer, just to save some time in this video, because I think you know what I'm doing here. So I'm just adding it also with the leftover ink on my blender. I'm using it to fill up the tiny part where the bag is closed and hanging on that thread. I don't know how that part is called, but you know what I mean, I think. So I'm just following that rainbow order, and then I'm restarting with my rainbow again. Also, I have this piece of paper on the side just to clean off my colorless blender. well, when you are working especially with the red ones, they can really make your blender dirty. And to avoid mixing the colors when you're going to the next one, I have this paper here to clean off the blender. So I'm working my way through this panel. So if you like lots of colors, then you can do something like this, or you can also do the rainbow cardstock, as I said before, which I really think I would like so much. Or if you like no-line coloring, because that would be wonderful as well. Just stamping it out with some no-line coloring ink and then coloring these D-bags, I think that's lovely as well. But today, when I was coloring, well, I didn't have a really sturdy hand, so from time to time, you know, you can do it or you can't, but I wasn't capable today of going over all those swirly lines, so I avoided no-line coloring for that. And as you can see here, the second color really adds so much more depth to this panel. Now on the side you can already see the embellishments that I'm going to use today. On this card as well as on the other, I will embellish all of these tea bags using some tiny heart sprinkle stickers. I love these stickers. It's a great addition to your cards. You don't need to fill your card completely as I'm doing today, but I just thought it was cute to add it to the tea bags. It adds something more, or if you have, for example, just a tiny face to add, that would be lovely as well. Just some smiley tea bags. I think that's cute. So I'm almost done with the coloring. And actually also why I took these hearts is that I found that these colors matched perfectly with the colors that I took of the zigs. And so I'm just adding the same colors of hearts on the same colors of tea bags. And it's a tiny detail, I know, but it's worth it. So I'm adding it all over. Even this color is in this heart sprinkles stickers. And I'm using my craft knife to help me. I can also lift up these hearts with my fingers, but then with my thick fingers, seeing whether it's straight or not positioned on the tea bag, it's really hard. So that's why I saw, I think, at Kat Exilski this tip where she used her craft knife for that. So I'm almost done. I'm also going to add a heart on the upper right tea bag that I have there, but as you can see it's only partially on there, so I will also trim off the heart a bit. And then I saw that I had some sort of a smudge. I thought it was a smudge, but actually it was just something that was already in the Strathmore Bristol Smooth. It was not completely white, but I tried to remove it with a sand eraser. It worked out fine. And now you can see the two panels next to each other. It's the same idea, but it's a different execution. I really like the fact that the ones that are in the browns are lifted a bit. On the other side, the rainbow colors are really joyful. So whatever you like, you can do. You can also do a monochrome card and use several blue colors, for example. So on this card, since I have it white heat embossed, I thought about using the whites. But then I thought, okay, but I can do like one pink heart on one of the bags. That's a nice, I don't know, change up of color, but subtle. So I actually think that it's really lovely. If I would have added it to several tea bags, it wouldn't be special. But now that one with pink heart, in my opinion, it's that extra special tea bag. Don't know. What do you think? So I'm just filling up these tea bags, and then I will be adding these panels onto A2 sized card bases. So if you prefer making European cards, then just use another size of panel and another size of card base, but you can get the same results. And then these two cards are finished. So these are quick cards. Lots of fun to create, I truly promise you. Also, many options. If you like the sugars in the stamp set, you can use those. You can combine them all together. There are so many ways to have fun with your smaller stamps as well and really feature them on your card. So that is my video and my 2 cards ready. I hope that you enjoyed this video and of course that you like the end result. Don't forget to subscribe for some more Time for Tea Designs inspiration. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye!